G'day champions, are you tired of wasting time setting up a session every time you open Cubase? Well, stick around and I'll show you how to create the ultimate Cubase template so you get your ideas down in record time. Now, why would you want to use the template? There's 5 main reasons why you would want to. Number 1, it speeds up your workflow considerably. A well-prepared template eliminates the repetitive tasks of setting up tracks, routing and instruments every time you start a new project. You can jump straight into composing without having to worry about technical setups. Number 2, a template allows you to stay in the creative flow. By handling the technical setup in advance, templates keep you focused on creativity rather than troubleshooting. With everything set in place already, you spend less time tweaking things and more time just writing music. Number 3, a template allows you to have consistency across your projects. Templates ensure that your projects have consistent track naming, instrument routing, and effects, which makes them easier to navigate. By having pre-configured buses, EQs, reverbs, sends, the whole works, it allows a consistency of sound across all of your work, which is especially important if you're working on a film, a project that has a specific sound that you want to maintain across multiple tracks. Number 4, the template is customized for your needs and your needs only. Templates can be customized to include the instruments, plugins, and articulations you use most frequently. Because templates are customizable for your own needs, if you're working on multiple projects, let's say you're doing film scoring, you're working on game audio, you're doing EDM production, having a template for each one of these with everything pre-laid out that you can just jump right in and get straight to writing music, and it's going to save you a lot of time, but most importantly, it's going to allow you to jump straight into the software and get your ideas down immediately. And finally, number 5, a template is best for your long-term productivity. As your skills and your tools improve, your templates can grow with you, incorporating new ideas and new techniques. Ultimately, the less time you have to spend setting up your session every time you open Cubase, the more music you'll be able to write and the faster you'll be able to get your ideas down from your head straight into the door. If you can just open up a template, everything's ready to go, you can just get straight into writing great music. So let's get into it. So for this template, we'll be creating a simple orchestral template using some Spitfire libraries. I'll be sharing some tips and tricks along the way that you can apply to any template that you want to create, no matter what genre of music that you create. So for this demonstration, I'll be using 21 contact instances. We're just going to be creating a simple set of strings, brass with French horn and trumpets. We're going to be setting some piccolos and flutes, and then we're going to have a 4th layer for percussion at the end. First things first, let's just set this to rack view. So we'll start by quickly naming all of these tracks with what we want to have assigned to them. So we've got everything named, now we're going to add all of the instruments to these tracks. If we want a quick key bind to do this, we just come to edit key commands and we search the quickest way, edit instrument, edit VST instrument. I've just got this set to this button, this till button, just underneath escape. So I can just tap this button and it'll open and close contact. So let's just use change of strings for this one. So now that we've got all the tracks named, we've got all of the instruments assigned in contact, the next thing that we're going to do is we're going to color everything. We've got 4 different sections: strings, brass, woodwinds, and percussion. We're just going to set a different color for each. So this button up here is where we set the color. If we want more colors than those 16 we have available, we just come up to project colors setup, presets, and we can change 16 from 16 basic colors to 32. Number of color tints we can change from 1 to 4, and now we have much more of a different variety for us to work with, which is really handy if you've got more than the default 16 colors, or if you just want different shades. It all comes down to personal preference. Let's go colors. So this is the string section first. I'm just going to have this as a lighter shade of green. brass, maybe a deeper blue. Woodwinds, shift select all of them. Let's go blue, but maybe let's go a lighter kind of blue. And then we've got percussion. Let's select red. So the next thing that we're going to do is we're going to route these 4 different sections to their own individual bus. Bring over the mix window here. So we're just going to select everything, right click, add group track to select tracks. And now we have one fader in control of all of these. Basically have one master fader of the strings bus. And we can add all of our different effects on here. We can add our EQ, we can add our reverbs. Everything here will be applied to all of these string tracks that we can see up here. If we were to rename this to strings bus, we can see all of the strings here. They all have their output set to strings bus. So let's do the same. Highlight all of the brass. Same thing here. So now we have all of these 4 sections all routed to their own different buses. Now we're just going to go ahead and set some basic effects on these plugins. We're going to set EQ, compression, saturation, reverb, and a limiter. We're just going to set these as default. We're not going to do any tweaking with them. We're just going to have them set so then whenever we open up the template, they're ready to go. Just come up here, inserts. Now I really like using Fab Filter Pro Q. Now if you want to copy this across, hold down the Alt key and drag your plugin, and that'll copy it across onto the other inserts. So the next one, let's go Pro C. This will be the compression that I'll want to use on all of these. Maybe we want a saturation. Let's just use this soft tube saturation knob. Copy that across. Reverb, let's just set cinematic rooms. Copy that across. Next, we're going to add in limiter. Awesome. We're also going to set folders for our different categories. So we've got everything within a folder that we can open up if need be. This is going to prove really handy when you start using big templates with hundreds of different tracks. Having our sections grouped, but then within the folders, rather than having everything displayed on the same bar, is going to save us a lot of screen space. So here we're just going to open up all of these, move selected tracks to new folder. Same thing here, move selected tracks to new folder. We'll do this and then we'll come back and name it. Now why don't we just reset these colors so we've got the folders and the bus group the same color as the tracks themselves. And now what we can do is, rather than have everything displayed here at once, we can just open up these folders and collapse everything like that. Let's just set a color for the group bus. There we go, let's get that one. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to add in some control tracks. Before we do that, come up here and click this button, divide track list. So we can see if we scroll down here, we've kind of got this section up the top which doesn't move. This is where we're going to add in our control tracks. So then no matter how far we scroll in the template, we have these tracks visible at all times. So we're going to add in a signature track for our time signature. We're going to add in a tempo track, and let's just say a marker track. Let's just call this marker track. Just set a color we haven't used yet. Cool, let's go that one. We can scroll to heart's content. We've got those things there at all times. These are really handy. Now we have the marker tracks up here just so we can see them at all times. If we have them down here in the main section, every time we scroll, we'll lose them. I think it's really important to have our tempo tracks visible at all times, our signature tracks and our marker tracks. Just for organizational purposes, we want to be able to see where we are at all times, see what the tempos are. If we have a massive template and we're right down the bottom of the template, having this up here just to be able to still, come up here and move things. Maybe we want to change this to 6/4 section. No matter where we are in the template from top to bottom, it's really important to have all of these up top just so we can access them at all times. Let's go ahead and just add in this input thing here as well. Happy days. The next thing that we're going to do so your template loads really quickly whenever you open it is we're going to disable all of the tracks. So right now, all of the tracks are loaded. If we save the template like this, we've got 21 tracks. Whenever we open the template, it's going to load every single one of those 21 different tracks, which it might be fine for 21 tracks, but let's say if you have a big template of 400 tracks, that's going to take forever. And it's also going to use a lot of processing power because we have these tracks set up, but we might not want to use all of these. We might want to open it up, but we just want to play around with the violin. Might just want to open up. We might just want to have a fiddle around with some percussion. And being able to disable tracks and enable tracks means that while your tracks are disabled, it's not using any processing power on your computer. So it's really good to save CPU and RAM usage on your computer while you're using your session. Before we disable them, I'll show you a trick that you can do with contact libraries. And that's, see up here, we've got memory. Right now it's using 700 gigabytes of memory. Come up here to purge all samples, and then disable. So now when we disable the track, we can right click here, disable selected tracks. Whenever we enable the track and it comes out, it saves the purge. I would also recommend setting a hotkey for this. Key commands, enable disable track. I have mine set to Control E. You can set that whatever you want. If we just set to this to reload all the samples, you see it's using, so just by having this track enabled, it's using 700 megabits of memory power. So by purging everything and then disabling, having it set to 0, as soon as we load it, as soon as we open up the track, we enable it, we start playing, then the memory will start loading as we're playing the different notes, and that'll just save you a bit of computer processing power. And this is going to stack up. So if we do this for all of these different string tracks, you know, there was 700 megabits there, 70 megabytes there, 500 megabits here, 70 megabits there, you know, just under 500 megabits there. These legato tracks are pretty RAM heavy. If we do all of these for even just these 10 string tracks, suddenly we've saved 5 gigabytes of RAM space. Maybe not 5, maybe like 2 or 3, but across the whole session, you can see how this will add up quite considerably. So I'm going to go ahead and purge all of the samples and then disable the tracks. Cool, so everything's purged, everything's disabled. The only thing enabled that will load when we open the track is our buses with our different effects. You can also experiment with saving all of these plugins bypassed in your session. Why don't we do that? So we'll set everything now as bypassed. So now let's say this is our template. We're going to come up here, File, Save as Template. Got a couple here already. Let's just call this Orchestral Template Test. So now when we go back to our Cubase hub, we click More, we've got our templates here. These are my other 2 templates that I use, but what we're going to do is we're going to select our template. If you click Create here, it's just going to create a blank project session, even though we've got this selected. So instead of doing that, we just want to double click here on Orchestral Template. We'll give it a sec to load up. And that was it loading in real time. That took, what, just a couple of seconds. Everything's already up here, ready to go. Yeah, we can just start writing whatever we want to our heart's content. So hopefully now you have an idea of how to set up a template for yourself and how to set up one that works for your needs, your music style, and the sound that you want to go for. I guarantee it'll save you a lot of time just being able to open up a template, have everything there preloaded, get straight into writing music. You don't have to waste any time setting up your session. It's amazing. If you want more tips and tricks like this, make sure to subscribe to the channel so you don't miss out on any of our upcoming videos. Here at Cubase Composer, we're all about helping you maximize your creative output in Cubase. So if there's anything in particular you want to learn about, leave a comment under this video and we'll look into it. All right, that's it for this video. I'll see you in the next on Legends. Have a great day.